taking an interest in other people, that really is networking at its best, is what I call good networking. Making the most of the people you meet to your mutual advantage. Don't go in and see what you can get from the other people, but network and see what you can give them back in return. Take a chance. Make sure you go and speak to somebody. Don't think, oh, they won't want to speak to me, I'm a bit shy. Whatever it is, most people are quite shy. Take the chance and normally you'll find you get a very good response. Well, I'd say it's hard work. There's no question, it's hard work. People say, oh, you're always scribbling down notes, you're always taking people's numbers, but it's those very people that want to know who somebody was a few weeks later. So I think you've got to have your business cards about you, or have a note of your own email and name, but you don't just sort of indiscriminately scatter them about. If someone you really want to meet, it's up to you to make sure you get their email or their phone number before you leave. Be the one in power so that you can follow up a day or two later saying, I was pleased to meet you wherever you were and I just have an idea to give you, or whatever it is. Don't network to the sense that people lose the will to live because you're trying to make a pitch. Say, I'm so-and-so, so-and-so, I've got an idea for a program or an idea for a startup, whatever it is. The outline is this, 2 minutes maximum. Can I email you? Can I ring you tomorrow, this week? And do follow up within 2 days, otherwise they'll forget you. Well, in the early days it was a Rolodex, just having them all on cards, and latterly it's been having them actually on, I think I've got Windows Outlook, I think it is. So that if when I've met you, I've already got you in my database because I've heard from you before I come here, but I'd make sure I put down where I met you, who I met you with. If I was going to invite you somewhere, I'd make sure I invited the person with whom I met you as a courtesy on the whole, if I could. I'd put down if you were in the bracket of politics, business, media, charities, NGOs. I'd put down anything I think about you special that I should know about, that you particularly like this or don't like that, or whatever it is. And then I'd even file you under country, I'd file you under the city that you come from, so that when I want to find you again, I can. Definitely nurtured. There's no question about it. I was very, very shy when I was born. When I was in my late teens, I was very, very shy, and I really had to say to myself. In fact, it was probably my mother who really gave me all my good advice. Who probably said, make sure that you take an interest in other people. Forget what you look like, what impression you're making, and take an interest. And once you start taking an interest in somebody else, once you start really being interested in the issues or how they're feeling, it is so rewarding. Well, I suppose I wanted to be the #2 Dale Carnegie, how to win friends and influence people, make a fortune and sell around the world. But he got there before me. So I sold I probably sold about 10,000, and I was serialised in one of the national papers, so it was good in that sense. But really I wanted to encourage people to network. It's like when you've lost weight, you want to tell people, oh, don't eat potatoes, don't eat this, lose weight, it's wonderful. And then when you put weight on again, you can't understand why people don't eat all those things. And it's the same sort of thing. I didn't like people to hang back because they were shy, when just by a little twist of attitude and an interest in other people could change. And what I particularly wanted to do was to suggest to people that they did what I do, which is I call them salons, very grand name for saying, bring people together over a cup of coffee once a week or a drink once an evening, same date, same day of the week, same time of the week, and the same place, just for 4 weeks. Invite people you meet in the bus queue, in the supermarket queue, at a conference, and you'll be surprised to see how many people you get to know. They bring someone along with them. It's a wonderful way if you'll move somewhere new, if you're starting a new business, or you just need expertise. Well, I suppose it's being a good listener. I think it's allowing people to fail. You've got to let people stretch their potential and try things. It's walking around the room, walking around the office, the factory, wherever it is, the business, is making sure people know you. Haven't necessarily got to know you by first names. You don't have to naturally know who their boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever it is, partner is, but you've just got to know them so that you recognise them, you smile at them, and people know that if necessary, they can refer to you. If necessary, they can be in touch with you. And also make decisions. They can be the wrong ones, but it's rather like our Prime Ministers. We want people who make decisions. I suppose it does up to a point, but I think the essentials are still there. The essentials are don't have favourites. Don't have teacher's pet sort of syndrome. You know, try not to show your dislike of someone you dislike for no particular reason of their own. And try, and when you do reprimand somebody, reprimand them to the measure of what they've done as opposed to the measure of what you like or don't like them. I think people are very aware when people are genuine, and when I say genuine, I mean when they're fair. Yeah. Be fair-minded, treat people as you wish to be treated, but let them know that you're in charge, but you want their views. Well, I think, isn't it Professor Layard said that happiness is when you get a rise until the person, one of your peers, gets a bigger rise and you're not quite so happy, although yours is still the same. So I suppose we're all looking over our shoulder what other people are doing. And when we see people earning what to us is an enormous amount of money, however much it's based on the turnover of the business, in the case of businesses or banks or even footballers or actresses and actors, I think it's human nature to feel that they're earning too much. I think that it probably will get better in the sense that in more proportion, because I think young people, what the market research company I've been involved with, found that young people, when we did a survey, they don't mind companies making money, but they do want to make sure they put something back into society. I think that's the biggest thing. That still doesn't quite answer your question, because you can put back into society and still be taking one heck of a lot out. So I think it's got to be more, I think people at the top have got to realise that people below don't understand it. It's no good giving us the figures and saying that this was part of a bonus scheme or whatever it was. Renew and draw up new bonus schemes, because I don't think we can have this disparity too long. I think that the institutions will suffer. Well, I think the people I know are very, very pleased with the digital economy. I was talking to people just this afternoon, one man who sells his books online, another friend of mine who's got an online shopping channel and has really, really seen his business increase because of that. Another friend of mine saying that she can now buy clothes online. I think that the online shopping, the Amazon and the shopping, is very, very good indeed. Of course, I want people to go in and say to somebody, oh, I'd like a dress, I want pink, I want blue, do you think this suits me? It's a way to communicate with people. I always want you to communicate. But I can see that if you do things online, it leaves you free to communicate with other people in other ways. So I'm all for it. They may be, and I don't necessarily think that's a good thing, because obviously I think you can see by a gesture, by a look, by just the way someone addresses you, how they're sitting even, you can get more of an idea of somebody. And in a conversation face to face, something comes up that would never come up if you were doing it on the email or even by Facebook or by LinkedIn. Having said that, I have a very shy cousin, and she, when she meets me, looks on the floor, looks down at the ground and is awesome, is about the only word she'd say, but on Facebook, she's talking to me. Even on email, she's talking to me, telling me about her boyfriend, telling me about the job she likes or doesn't like. So I think it has got good things about it. But personally, I think that the face-to-face is always best if you can get it. Well, I think in my day, I can remember John Lewis was always the one we looked up to, and then there was Body Shop. You felt, oh, they really look after their employees. I think there's a new one now called Circle, where I think they base themselves on the John Lewis partnership ethos, that the employees should have a say in what's going on. Yeah. I think that's commendable and should happen. But I think if you've got a Nigella Lawson red dress, I don't think I'd mind going into that shop if they were rude to me if I got that dress. So I don't think service overcomes product. I think if you've got a product that's the same everywhere, then you go somewhere that you know you're going to get a friendly response and someone's going to be helpful, they're going to exchange the thing. I think that is obviously always going to be to the good. It has to be my mother. My mother was a wise woman. I feel she was born wise. She was born really, well, 26 years before me. Had she been born when I was born, she would probably have had enough money to have gone to university, which she didn't. She worked in a butcher shop at 16. She went on, she could have gone on to university because she was intelligent enough to. She went to evening classes afterwards, but she always retained a sense of self. She had a big heart, but was uncluttered by sentimentality. She showed me and my brother had paranoid schizophrenia. It was a very difficult a child, and also he died in his 40s of a stroke. But Mama took everything in her stride, did the best she could with it, and took life by the scruff of the neck. Who can argue with that? Well, if you'd asked me in advance, I would have said not very important, because you say, oh, no, it doesn't matter, this is not the most important thing. But actually, when I was named it, or voted it, I was extremely pleased. I was satisfied, because it sort of seemed to say that the work I've done, not the work, but the way I've brought people together, suddenly it was wonderful for people to say that that was something to be pleased about. And it made me more happy to be a member of the Institute of Directors, and I was already quite happy with O2. So it was a very, very nice thing. It was a little, but it was a lovely bonus.